This is the 12 match races of Christmas, where us, the Triple Clowns, present to you some dream matchups. We are constantly working on original and I think groundbreaking horse racing shows that are informative and also, at the end of the day, fun, guys. So hit that like, subscribe button and that notification bell. Also follow us on Twitter at Clowns Triple and all of the social media platforms, because we are going to bring you new shows. That's right, new shows that include horse racing conspiracies and odd stories, handicapping 101. We're going to do live picks from the track, and of course our show where we interview great guests and we do some horse racing skits that are a good time. Support us so we can keep going, trailblazing in the horse racing industry. From AJ Ryder, Sarah Marie, and of course myself, G. Randall Johnson. Happy holidays, and let's get it on with the 12 match races of Christmas. Well, here we are on our 12 match races of Christmas, and we are lucky to be joined by the one, the only, Joe Moran from MyRacehorse. What's up, Joe? And you're ready to go at this, or what?
Oh, I'm ready. This is probably one of the toughest questions that I ever got asked by you guys. So it made me do a lot of thinking and a lot of watching back on replays and going through stuff before giving you my answer. I know when you texted me, I said, first I had to give you the two horses, then I had to pick between them. So it made it real hard, but I'm excited to talk about it. Regardless, it's going to be fun.
All right. Yes. For everybody that doesn't know, we did, we were doing Frankel and Arrogate. Arrogate, is that how I pronounce it? I want to say it wrong the whole time. So Arrogate or Arrogate?
I say arrogant.
I say pecan too, and I guess you could say pecan.
Tomato, tomato.
All right, so I'm going to go with Arrogate, and Great Britain's finest, Frankel. And in the blue corner, hailing from Kentucky with a career record that consists of 11 starts, 7 wins, 1 second, 1 third, with a career earnings over $17 million. His major wins included the Travers Stakes, Breeders' Cup Classic, Pegasus World Cup, Dubai World Cup. He was also the Eclipse Award-winning 3-year-old Male of the Year in 2016, and IFHA World's Best Racehorse in 2016 and 2017, Arrogate. And in the red corner, hailing from Great Britain, with an impressive record of 14 starts and 14 wins that include the Royal Lodge Stakes, Dewar Stakes, Grenham Stakes, 2000 Guinness Stakes, St. James Palace Stakes, Sussex Stakes, Queen Elizabeth II Stakes, Lockage Stakes, Queen Anne Stakes, International Stakes, Champion Stakes. This is your European Horse of the Year in 2011 and 2012. That is the unbeaten Frankel. I'm wondering if Joe Moran regrets his decision of taking Frankel against us, where he does get to pick against the clown. And I know everybody out there probably thinks this is fixed, and AJ and I went back and forth that this should be fixed because we all don't want to do the research on it, but it's not. So you're going to catch one of us off guard a little bit. We don't know who you're picking. So you're going Frankel against Arrogate, and this is going to be a little different than most of our races because we cannot go the same distance, obviously. We cannot go the same surface. So we're just going to, on this one, in their prime, best race, who is a better racehorse? Arrogate, Frankel. Hope that doesn't change for you, Joe, because you're still taking.
Whatever. I'm sticking to my guns.
All right. So before we get started, AJ, tell us the rules. Tell Joe the rules because we don't tell him anything. So tell him the rules.
All right. Well, our contest consists of 3 rounds. The first round, each contestant in our show will have an opportunity to present their opening argument. Each opening argument will be limited to 1 minute only. The second round is the Q&A with the judges. Each judges will get an opportunity to ask each contestant as many questions about each horse as they'd like. There is no time limit on this round. The final round consists of a free-for-all battle royale lasting 1 minute 30 seconds, where each contestant goes back and forth presenting their argument, and well, we'll just see what happens then. So, and at the end of the 3 rounds, the remaining 2 judges will then confer and decide our winner.
All right. And the only rules are be nice, but I don't have to worry about that with you guys. Well, don't be personal ever. Okay. AJ, first off, nobody be personal because I will mute you and find you. But other than that, no holds barred. We're going to hear the big battle where we're probably going to somebody's going to make a lot of overseas people angry here. Yeah. But let's go. So first and foremost, Joe, who do you want to go against with the Clowns?
Oh, easy. I'm going against AJ.
Easy, he said. Easy.
All right, first AJ selection, by the way.
Really? I just felt like it's going to be a good entrainment right here.
Well, we figured he was going to be the most, and so I agree. So Joe Moran is going to introduce Frankel versus Arrogate. Right. Let's go. Joe, go ahead.
Okay, well, Frankel, I mean, undefeated 14 for 14. I think that speaks volume. A grade 1 winner from 7 furlongs to 10.5 furlongs. A horse that had run a time form rating of plus 147 times in his career. And I believe he's recording the highest ever time form rating of 147, if this is up to date of what I read. Ultimately, this horse was such a push button horse. He was able to win on the lead, off the pace, far back when he ran in the Judgmont York. Going 10.5 furlongs for the first time. He was caught so far back, maybe by intention, but something the horse just showed so much versatility. And no matter what, his brilliance showed every single time. So regardless who he faces, I don't see him being beat. And he faced top competition from the top milers in Great Britain, Europe, Royal Ascot. So he's a horse that has just dominated throughout his career, and I'm going to stick my guns with him.
Time, nice, right on the button. Perfect. Were you looking to it that?
Wow. Because I wasn't, but I had
what's happened. Like just
Joe's good.
Dropping a buzzer beater. All right, so that was Frankel. Told us a lot of good things about this horse, especially for American horse fans that don't know this. We have to also think about that. All right, AJ, are you ready? You look pretty serious up there. I'm a little bit worried. Like you're really getting into this. So you're just
wait till you hear my argument.
I know.
Oh boy! All right, ready?
All right, AJ, you're on. Go.
All right, so my main argument here is the fact that he's British. End of argument.
That's good.
I don't think you can even go past that. When you look at Arrogate's career, Arrogate had one of the best 6-month spans in all of horse racing, going from the Travers, the Pegasus World Cup, and the richest race in the world in the Dubai World Cup. And let's talk about his Dubai World Cup. I don't think Frankel, in that race, if you can shorten it down to a mile, as any business being on a track like that with the horses that not only did he have a horrendous start, but came from behind in a way he had never done before and shocked the absolute world, beating the likes of Gunrunner, California Chrome over his career. And then Frankel ran in a straight line. A straight line. That's not even a real horse track. That's what is that?
All right.
All right, it's good. All right.
Time's up.
Okay, straight line, not a real horse track. Okay,
wow.
Yeah, we're doing good with the European fans right now, by the way. All right, Great Britain loves us. Okay, so this is going to be our next round right there, and this is our round, and we just get to ask you guys questions about these horses. And don't worry, Joe, we're not ganging up on you. We're going to ask AJ these questions as well. It's not the Triple Clowns against you. All right, I'm going to start off with the second round. Are we ready to go, second round?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to start off with asking AJ a question right now. And it's almost a wee bit calling you out when you said, shocked the world at the Dubai. He was probably the favorite. I believe he was. He's coming off those huge wins. I want to start with that. Do you think that was really shocking the world? Halfway through the race?
Cup. When I say shock the world, I think I'm talking about the start. Having his position going from dead last after being crushed in by two horses that were both on the outside and inside of him. Mm-hmm. I don't even think Bob Baffert at that time thought he was going to win that race. So when I say shock the world, I'm talking about position, not necessarily odds going in.
All right. Well, he definitely shocked Bob Baffert possibly because I believe he had a heart attack after that race, I think.
No, that was the time before.
The trip before. But
was the trip before? Okay.
He had to bring his doctor was with him. I remember I was watching a video on it a couple days ago, And he was saying after the start, he was sitting there, he's like, I'm going to have another heart attack because of everything. He couldn't believe the horse
Well,
won.
there
You
you
know?
go.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right, AJ, on that one.
I've watched the same
Okay.
thing. You're just like, oh boy.
Sarah, question
Yeah.
from you to one of the guys, because I have a couple more.
Yeah. I have a couple too. We'll just go back and forth. AJ, since you're a big speed figures, time form buyers, whatnot fan. So Frankel's 147, Arrogate's 139.
Woo.
Time form wise, what's your angle there? If Frankel's
147
holding
in
strong at
Britain. I don't know what the exact conversion rate is for time form from Britain to America, but clearly it's different. 147 has got to be a joke. Ran a 138.81 in that QE2, which is about as slow as I could run a mile, I believe.
It's on different
So-
surfaces.
That is,
Different
I'm gonna,
surfaces
well,
on
can
the
we strike
turf.
that from the record? That is just complete nonsense.
Scratch that.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, so
I mean, have you watched the race? It looks like it's in slow motion. It
That's
looks
saying
like it's in
Oakland
slow motion.
Park's mile and Del Mar's mile is going to be the same time.
That is okay. So
Okay, wait, guys, we gotta save this.
okay,
Okay, we're
fine,
saving this.
fine,
You guys
fine,
cannot
fine.
react to each
Sorry.
other right now. That's the third round. Joe, keep that in the holster, okay? You remember that.
Keep your guns loaded right now.
Yeah, and that's a good point. All right, so I'm gonna ask Joe that on that now. No, because I actually one of my questions is the time form question where Frankel's time form, and if you do see, he was 5 seconds slower, I think 5, than the track record for that race. Do you think this time form figure could be a little bit manipulated?
Maybe. But I'm going to say now, because I know they went in and went through like all time form ratings from what I read and rechanged a bunch from over the past like 50 years.
Yeah.
And I think I know there was a couple that dropped from like 140 to 134. So I know there were some adjustments made on all the time form ratings due to this kind of topic that was brought up. So I'm not looking into it too much. He was a horse that just beat top horses left and right, 7 furlongs, mile. The type of racing in Europe, it's not where not California, but American racing, we're all about speed. Everything's fast. A dirt track you can manipulate by packing the track down, and speed can be determined by the way the track surface is. Look at Breeders' Cup, for example. I mean, the track was playing so fast, and you can do that all with the likes of a tractor by adjusting that. In the turf racing, weather, there's so many factors that play into that time I do not take into as much consideration on the turf as I do on the dirt.
Okay, good point. I'm going to go right to AJ with another question. So, AJ, if I was to say to you that Frankel obviously showed up at every race, do you feel like Arrogate doesn't show up sometimes?
my argument is not to be made over the course of his career. You can argue the 14-0, this is a better horse. And if you want to look at who was a better horse, I can dig a 6-month span where he was the best horse in the world. So show up. Well, I watched him show up in the biggest races, the Breeders' Cup Classic, the Dubai World Cup, the Travers, and I watched him show up consistently since the moment Mike Smith got on him for the very first time at the Travers, and then consistently showed up for every big race he had throughout the end of his 3-year-old to 4-year-old season.
Okay.
The beginning of his 4-year-old.
Yeah, okay. Let me go to Joe. Do you have a question for them?
Yeah, I thought we were going to go back and forth
Okay,
here.
go ahead. Yeah. I just want to remember mine. I'll have to write it down.
Oh, well, then say it before you
Okay,
forget.
I want to say it really quickly to Joe because I will forget it.
Yes, you will.
Here I go. I already forgot it. No, actually, no. Joe, I want to ask you, though. Frankel's so good.
Yeah.
And why did he duck coming to America?
He didn't need to. Why did he need to?
Well, because he only made $4 million in his career and he could have made a lot more. Isn't that what it's kind of about?
Yeah, well, he makes babies for $175,000 a pop. I mean, he's doing all right.
Boom.
There was no need to take the risk.
Is
It's a perfect argument. I don't have a good answer. I guess you could talk to the trainer. The trainer was in serious health issues, so maybe they didn't want to make the trainer travel. I'm sure there was a lot of things that went into that, but Yeah, I mean that's up for debate, I guess.
I like the health issues angle. I didn't know that.
He was like actually dying in his last 2 races. So I mean, tip my cap to him. He did a phenomenal job with the horse, and I'm sure Judgment Farm is extremely loyal to him, and I'm sure they weren't going to put him in a position to have to travel to America.
Because the one thing I did find out, and just piece of information, is that he did send a couple horses over before he was sick, so.
Yeah.
All right. No. Okay. All right. I didn't know that. So there you go. Little insider info, right there. Sarah, what about you?
Yeah. Well, I just have a question for Joe. Frankel, who obviously won all races, but won by lengths in most of his races. It wasn't just, a close race. He made clear he was the winner. Do you think this performance could transfer to the States on our turf? We'll talk about turf. We won't talk about him coming over here for dirt. Do you think it would transfer the same, winning by lengths, multiple lengths?
Yeah, I do. He was a horse that won on soft ground, good ground, firm ground. I think he's a horse, you hear the term, a horse that would run on broken glass. I think the same thing with Arrogate as well. I think they're both horses that would run on any surface, any conditions, weather, no matter what, they do it all. So to me, there would be no fear. If that horse came to America, I think he would handle our turf courses. I think he would handle the dirt. I mean, obviously the dirt would be more of a question, but I think there would be absolutely no question that he could handle the turf in America.
So if we could do the turf versus dirt at Canterbury. Wasn't it Canterbury?
Yeah, but the times are so different on those. It's hard.
It still would be fun. Arrogate on the dirt, Frankel on the turf. Like they do at Canterbury.
We watched a silly video. I don't know if you
yeah,
saw it.
yeah.
They run at the same time.
That's right.
And of course, like what the dirt won or whatever, or the turf did.
Turf
The
won
turf won
because
because
it's
it's
not as
inside of
wide.
the track. It's not as
So
long.
I got an advantage on you, AJ, if we're doing it this way. So sorry.
Yeah. All right. Are you good with the questions?
For now, yeah.
For now, it's the only time we get the questions. All right. So I guess we're good with the questions. All right. So that brings us up to round 3. It's a free-for-all. It's a minute 30. You guys can go back and forth. If one of you starts jumping on top of each other too much, AJ, we will mute you.
No names
All
to
right.
mention.
So
many
give him a
points I
chance
need to
to
make
respond.
after that terrible question and answer round.
Oh my goodness.
How was that
Oh,
terrible?
please.
Oh, so many points need to be made, but I kept my mouth shut in respect to the rules.
Oh, gotcha. Well, there you go. That's why we have this. All right, so
All
this
right.
is it. The free-for-all, the Battle Royal. Minute 30. Tell us why, Frankel, Arrogate, who's better? Tell us why. Go ahead, guys.
And go.
Okay, so top horses. You want to talk about top horses that you said he beat over there in the Queen Elizabeth race that he had his phantom time form figure of 147. Do you know who he beat? He beat a horse called Zoffany, who never won as a 3-year-old. Ever.
Yeah.
All his races came against
know how
other
European
2-year-olds, and his 2-year-old.
Let him respond.
That's a top horse?
AJ,
This is-
let him respond.
American racing horses don't even run till they're 4 years old, so it's a whole different environment. Horses run till they're 7. Look at Winks there. She got better. She didn't start running well till she
Again,
was
you're talking
5.
about foreigners. Foreigners?
Huh?
Foreigners?
That's his
Like
point,
top
AJ.
horses. Top
That's
horses.
That's his point. All
Top
right.
horses. Top horses. I would consider horses
How
like
about-
Gunrunner and
how about the
California
2000
Chrome.
Guinea? How about in the 2000 Chrome? I mean, you're talking about a horse that really. Come on.
Zoffany? Lost. Barely beat her by less than a length.
Okay.
Let's let
Joe, you got 30
jump
seconds.
on.
Go.
In our Stellar Travers, we beat American Freedom. What happened to him? That was the favorite, American Freedom in the Travers. Oh, one Best Buyer freak out performance. What did he beat? He got the lead and just never looked back. He's a freak, absolutely. But he didn't beat anyone either, so you can't throw that at me.
I'm talking.
He beat Gunrunner at a distance. Gunrunner doesn't want to run.
There you go. All right. Guys, that's about it. All right. I love it. Nice. Good arguments there.
I like Joe coming back like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feisty on
And
you.
my
Like it.
competition,
I liked it.
they're both good. So they can't
They're
make
both-
everyone look bad.
It's absolutely right.
I love seeing a side of Joe I've never seen before.
I know. I love this.
Why I picked AJ. I figured it would be.
Good, good. Don't go out of his man, Frankel. All right. So this gives us the chance to speak about
Wow.
this. Joe actually won me a little bit in the sense of I was on Arrogate. That's my guy. I think Joe made some really, really good points. I think I would have had it for Alex with the points he made. Not that they were better, but for Arrogate in general, like they're hard to beat. But I like the point of you threw me for a loop with that trainer being sick, man. I don't know how true. I mean, I know he was probably sick. I don't know if that's just an excuse. You know what I mean?
Like 6 months later.
Yeah, no, I mean, we don't
There was
know.
12 races prior to that he could have done. There was about a 2-year period where he could have came over.
He ran 7 different tracks. It's not like he didn't travel. He ran at 7 different tracks. He won at Ascot twice. He won at York.
Britain's like this big.
Oh my goodness. Well,
You're talking like what about
Britain's the size of like Texas in general.
When you talk about turf racing,
It's like going from Churchill to Indiana Grand.
Okay, well that is
oh,
not.
not quite. I know. I can't agree with that, but
I was a little bit upset that when I baited AJ to give me when he takes races off, he just hated Delmar. By the way, just hated.
he hated Delmar.
To be honest, I'll say I kind of thought it was best overall horse. So, I mean, the one thing I'll say in AJ's defense, which pleads my case, I mean, I'll agree. Arrogate's race in Dubai was unbelievable. I remember to this day, I was on a bus from Arkansas back to Oklahoma. I was in college, and it had to be like the middle of the night because it was pitch black. I was like the only one up. I stayed up to watch the races on the bus, and when he missed the break, I was sitting there like, oh my God, I cannot believe this just happened. And when he made that run, I mean, it was unbelievable that a horse could just keep that steady run the whole time. So it just shows how good of an athlete he was, and incredible, I mean, heart in reality that it is. But I guess when I went through all this, you look at Frankel, I mean, he didn't have to overcome something of that stature, but he was a horse that could win on the lead. He could win sitting 4 lengths off the pace in that Judgmont race going over a mile and a quarter. He was almost second to last to start the race, and he was on the lead without even being asked in like 3 seconds. So, I mean, it's hard to compare a dirt and a turf horse like that, I guess, but both horses incredible and both owned by Judgmont. I wasn't really thinking about that at the time, but
I wasn't either. I was watching the replays of Frankel, and I was like, they're in the same silk.
She goes, they were in the same silk. Yeah. So, well, you know what that means.
Yeah, it just never. I never paid attention to the ownership at that point.
I will say this: I haven't done this yet, and I didn't realize because I have like a list of kind of like bullet points. I was like, these are arguments I want to try to make. Yeah. It's a lot harder when you only have a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know, because AJ, I feel like you
when I want to ruin 15 seconds of my minute on he's British joke.
I feel like you missed kind of 2 decent.
I wanted to bring up Baffert more, but that never came about either.
Why?
Because I thought the Baffert versus what's his name argument was a good one because they're both like
the
decorated as hell.
Or why not the fact that Arrogate has 2 track records?
I didn't get there, Sarah. I won't. God damn.
Well, I would have ruined it by saying the track got made faster for him.
Yeah.
Sorry. Welcome to
America. Been a good argument. But no, I think this was an interesting race because you have North America's richest horse versus, at least according to 2011, the highest rated horse in the world.
Yeah, and Alex and
Actually,
it's funny because AJ and I had the argument because he said Craig Mokowski said that the Dubai race wasn't that great of a race. And I said, I think besides the Secretariat race in the Belmont, obviously, and maybe Mind That Bird in the Derby, that was the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Was him in the Dubai.
I mean, it was 2 strides to 1. I mean, and that I literally, when you text me that, I had to go back and watch all these replays. I'm like, I don't know what horse I'm going to pick here. I'm like, this is tough. And I love turf racing. I'm not like a ginormous European racing fan, but Frankel like was the start of what got me interested in racing out there. He was just, in my mind, when I think of Arrogate, I don't want to say he was the most efficient traveler, but he would cover so much ground. It was just like unbeatable, where I compare more of Frankel almost to like American Pharoah with those 2 horses. When you watch them move, it's almost like you never see their feet leave the ground. They just are such efficient moves. It's unbelievable. And push button, I use that word.
if
I
you
want to
picked me,
shout
I was-
out also me and Joe for doing this because every other race we're going to talk about is all going to be like a match race. We just have to prove like, okay, who's a better horse?
Yeah, this is the hardest
Like,
one. This is the
This
hardest one.
one's
This is definitely
different.
the hardest
This
one.
was a very impressive. I mean, like you have two very strong horses. You could fight two strong angles. I mean, Frankel undefeated, Arrogate ridiculous in what he did. Unfortunately, after Dubai, he just couldn't perform.
Well, I think
as
that's
well.
what makes it a
He
good
did it all
matchup.
at that
Yeah.
point. He didn't need to do no more.
Well, because if he was dominant at Del Mar,
You think Frankel didn't? You think Frankel
isn't
didn't have
even
to
a
come over to
conversation.
America? Then it's
Yeah,
like, oh,
if he-
Arrogate did everything he needed to do.
if
Won
he
the Breeders' Cup.
dominated at Del Mar, this isn't a conversation. It's really not. And you're going to look at Arrogate as one of the best horses of all time at that point. You really are. If he dominated Del Mar, problem is he missed.
I mean, I guess you look at Frankel. He was a winner at 2, 3, and 4, 5 different distances, I believe, 7 different tracks,
Yeah,
surfaces, stock.
He showed up.
Overall, it's a
He
tough.
showed
He
up
showed
and he
up
dominated.
every
That's
time.
what he did.
And you know who doesn't like this conversation? Rafael Bejarano,
I
who
know.
jumped off.
No, because he had another ride for Baffert in the.
Yeah, well, you say I'm going to stay on Arrogate.
I know. Like, could you imagine him after the Traverse being like, oh,
Yeah.
like my career's done.
Yeah,
This
he
is
doesn't like this
stupid."
conversation. But
So
I
subject.
was actually going to ask, and I was going to give obviously a plug to our man, and I was going to say to Joe, since I know a miler that went 136 over here in America, should we just ship him over to England so he can win the Queen Elizabeth? And that's Lane Way. By the way.
Yeah, like I said, the turf courses play different out there. The time they run in such a more packed format.
Track record at Churchill is 133.78. Track record at Ascot at a mile is 133.73.
Okay. Did that track record? Oh no, it didn't just get set. That was Keenan. But
Oh man.
these horses run in a pack. It's slow, go. Where in America you want to be on the lead and go wide.
Yeah.
And
Fast
just
all the
go,
time.
yeah.
We actually covered the time that a horse got fined or suspended for running too fast into
That was
the
in
lead
Australia.
in Australia. So the same type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that actually happened. Yeah, a horse got suspended for basically running like an American horse. And going
Running
to
too
the lead.
fast. He got suspended.
Too fast quarter. Got suspended. So anyway, but that's great. Joe, I know you have to do a lot today. I know this
is
for
this
a
part
fact.
aired? Is this part aired? Because I do feel a
Well,
bit bad
we'll
for
edit it.
Joe because Randy brought up 2 pieces of information. I fed him this morning.
I read about him though.
You didn't know until I told you. On the
Oh yeah, then I read about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't believe you. I don't believe you when you tell me something.
What was that? What did you feed him?
I
the
don't
track
know.
record at Ascot and what other one? There was 2 of them.
You said the track record, Ascot. I
Like
said
I
Lane
said,
Way could run over.
You'll realize
No.
track records mean nothing at that point.
I preach that to AJ all the
At
time.
least I'm hoping. I'm not a European race expert, so I mean, I'm kind of
Maybe.
I'm
Maybe.
just telling you.
There's just as good of a chance that it does as it doesn't. So
Okay, so we've come back, I guess, with our
That was
decision.
tough. Yeah, that was tough.
Did we agree on it?
We
Or we're just
didn't
gonna go
agree, we
slider
just
and we're gonna have to
kinda-
go to the crowd? Is that what it is?
Yes, let's go to the comments. Let us know. Frankel, Arrogate below. Let us know in the comments.
we're not going to get a winner right now.
No, I'm gonna give mine. I don't
Oh,
know why
okay.
if it's a tie though. I'm gonna go with, and I'm gonna start out by saying it started out much higher, and I'm trying to be the jury here with nothing. Started out much higher with Arrogate as a horse, but I will say, Joe, you brought Frankel very much closer. But I'm gonna go with Arrogate. I just think the points were. It's not anything to do with you, AJ. You did fine.
Oh,
But
good Lord.
I think you made the points that were fairly obvious. But I think I'll say AJ started at 7 and Joe started at 3 for me. And he brought it up though to like AJ went down 1 because it's him, and he went up to 5.
But I still won though, right?
And it really came out because of the horse, really. And I'm sure we could flip-flop this, and Joe
yeah.
would argue Arrogate and do the same thing, but bury anybody with that. I'm going to go with Arrogate just because I think Joe did a great job, and I think he won me with the guy being sick, the trainer being sick. I mean, I hate to
Don't
say that,
even
but
know
that was my
for
one
sure.
sticking point.
We don't. That's such a terrible reason.
I know. I know. I'm like,
The
I'm
worst.
good.
That was
Because
my-
not
my
only did he
sticking point was
threw
why
that
didn't
out
he
there
come?
out of desperation,
No, I-
and not to mention there was
Oh, you
still
think
a
he made that
third
up?
half period before that he could have done that.
You think Joe made that up? You think he made up a
Doesn't
man
know
being
that for
sick?
sure. I know he did have health issues. I will say that, but we do not know for anything that was the reason
Well,
he
That's a
didn't
great
send him over
point.
there. Or could have
That was
sent
a
him over there.
great-
I did not
That
say
was a
it was
great
reason.
point.
I just said it was a possibility. Okay.
That was a
We're
great
on
point.
7 different tracks.
There was still a
It
2
got me- it
years
got me
prior to that.
thinking.
He could have sent him over.
goodness.
What about
2
you,
years
Sarah?
before that, he could have sent him over. Why you're judging it off the last 2 that we possibly was?
Sarah,
My
what
horse
you got?
won at 7 different tracks. Your horse couldn't win at Del Mar. Just saying.
Oh, see that?
Well, I guess I'm going to take it from there, Joe. So this was very tough. And I do agree. I went into this thinking Arrogate's like a 10, Frankel's like a 3. Hearing Joe's
I like this new
argument.
rating system we have for the
I know, yeah.
This man,
We have
right?
good. After hearing Joe's arguments, and really what it comes down to, we're talking about an undefeated horse, and like Joe just said, a horse that couldn't run at Del Mar. So I'm gonna take Frankel here.
Oh,
Whoa,
wow.
whoa, whoa!
That was
whoa,
a
whoa,
tough.
Okay, AJ.
And you're
got
saying,
your time.
oh man,
And just to kind of put a little smack on AJ, because he's the time form guy, Frankel holds 147 time form, the highest.
Ascot in a straight line at Ascot. It's not even a
We
real
must
horse.
take that into effect.
So
I want to talk to
unfortunately,
whoever Craig's got
the
working
two
over in
clowns,
England
you
right
have
now.
a win for Arrogate, and this was a
That's
tough
dumb.
decision, but I'm going to take my
That's
win for
dumb.
Frankel.
So we're gonna have to go to the comment section and see how people vote for on
Before
it.
we
They
get
can
to
watch
British
it. They can be the real judge. And AJ, you did lose points for saying you could have ran that mile in a minute and 36. That was the most ridiculous
Yeah.
comment of the day.
Well, there was clearly a lot of exaggeration
A lot.
in a
Alright.
lot of the arguments too. And you take that one.
The start of this video, there's a lot of exaggeration in this.
Absolutely.
Of course.
That's the fun part. But that was the worst of the bunch.
I think I wanted to know when I said he's British.
Oh,
AJ Ryan
God.
I think
pissed
it was
off the
over
whole
then.
Country.
This was fun, guys.
All right, this
All
was
right,
great.
Joe, thank you as always. Thanks for
No
coming
problem.
on our show. Thanks for this tough argument and joining us for the 12 match races of Christmas.
Yes. Thank you, Joe, for joining us. Always a pleasure. We'll talk soon.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Fans,
You too.
take it easy
Bye.
on Frankel. Don't destroy my Frankel. For the fans in the comments, be nice to him.
Do what you
All
feel
right,
is
see you guys.
necessary.
You heard it.
Yeah,
Bye.
try to be nice. Good luck.
Triple Clowns is a production of the team at Big Umbrella. Rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Send us your questions at tripleclowns@gmail.com and you may be featured on a future episode. Follow us on social media at ClownsTriple on Twitter and Instagram, and follow me, AJ Ryder, at Troy McLean WWE on Twitter. Like and subscribe to our show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. All right, guys, for AJ Ryder, I'm out of here. See you later, everybody.